Hello there, bike enjoyers. A few months ago I picked up this yellow bicycle. It had front and rear fenders, which I decided to remove almost immediately. I have historically been skeptical towards fenders because I've only been riding bikes for fun. My solutions for riding in rain has always been to simply not ride, or to just accept getting soaked, telling myself that I'm one of those people who doesn't just get wet, but actually feels the rain, as Bob Marley said. Although I must imagine that the rain feels somewhat different in Jamaica compared to Sweden in November. Anyways, the yellow bicycle has since then become my short distance work commuting bike, and I want to be able to use it even if it's raining without messing up my work clothes too much, so the fenders need to come back on. Luckily I kept them around, and I even put these loose screws in this little bag. That's pretty responsible, isn't it? I'm actually a bit proud of myself. These fenders are made out of plastic, which makes them a little bit flimsy, but it's not too bad once they're installed. And I think they look way better than they have any right to do. That shiny finish really sells them as, well, kinda fancy in my eyes. Oh, by the way, speaking of fancy looking, I am sticking with my notorious thick slick tires, because if they are one thing, except for slick and thick, it's elegant. And that's what this bike is to me. Elegant. Hopefully even more so once the fenders are back in action. But oh my, are these fenders difficult to get aligned with the wheel. They were an absolute nightmare to install, or at least to install properly. It feels like a catch-22 situation where every screw will affect the position of the whole thing. So ideally, you would need to hold everything where you want it and then somehow magically tighten every screw at the same time, or it all goes sideways in one place or another. Maybe there is a really good strategy for doing this that I just don't know about, but I spent freaking ages with it. Thankfully, at least I figured out that I had put this thing on the wrong side of the fork. These little dark markings here should be where the fork overlaps. It was still really difficult to get it right after correcting that, but eventually I managed to get it looking like this, which I'm very satisfied with. Perhaps my proudest bike tinkering effort of all time, considering how much I struggled. Even prouder than my plastic bag. I spent well over an hour trying to get the alignment figured out. Finally. Nice. The rear wheel presented some unique challenges too. The rear fender has one more attachment point right here behind the bottom bracket. I remember that it was difficult to get in there with the tools when we were removing the fenders. Yeah, good enough I suppose. I also wasn't sure which set of eyelets to use, but one of them has more paint chips than the other, so I went with that one. Side note, this frame has a much wider rear spacing than the hub does, so we are really squeezing this one tightly. I've done that with fixie conversions before, but this one has the biggest gap I've ever seen. It is a steel frame though, it should be fine, right? The rear fender was also hard to align, but you've heard all about it already, so let's skip to something more interesting. I noticed that the rear wheel was incredibly loosey-goosey. Rattlesnake territory. It was strange. I don't remember feeling this before. After some investigation, I found that there was play between the hub and the freewheel. Quite a lot of it. So we need to turn this little nut and push it all together a bit more. Apparently I own this thin wrench, which hurts my hand when I use it. Acceptable trade-off for improved access, I suppose. Oops, no, that's too tight. Let's give it just a little bit of breathing room. Yeah, that's much better. Alright, this is what the fenders ended up looking like. I really like it. It's got that Great Gatsby sort of champagne shimmer metallic look. Yeah, not bad. Last chain tension check. Seems fine. And some more air. Oh, wait. What's this? Another rattlesnake. What the heck is this? Don't know, don't care. This looks like a job for Mr. Bitey. Yeah. Get him, Mr. Bitey. Now there is a hole in my rear fender, but at least it's silent. Let's test ride it. Yeah, there were no issues like rubbing against the tires or rattling during my first short test ride, so that's nice. But I probably should have remembered to tighten the coaster brake arm thingy screw before riding. I'll remember it next time. And now, as a secret bonus feature, I'm going to follow everybody's advice and install some bar plugs into this potentially dangerous open barrel of a handlebar, both for safety and for style. You see, I'm going to use these two wine corks. Heck yeah. I read about this and I want to try it. I think it will look nice. Rubber hammer time. Ah, no, they don't fit. But you know what? We can almost certainly take care of that with a knife. So, bring out your English dictionaries, because it's time to whittle the corks to make them tapered. Okay, you knew the word tapered because you like bikes. But I'm not even sure what it's called in Swedish, and the only time I've heard the word tapered used, except for in bicycle parts, was when I was watching Philomena Kank on Netflix. If you know, you know. So I learned something today, because I had to look up the word whittle. And the whittling did the trick. The corks look really nice in there, don't you think? How about we go for a real ride to celebrate this successful tinkering session? The yellow bicycle is really fun and unique to ride. For a supposedly chill bicycle, the riding position and gear ratio are quite sporty. And in case you didn't know, the coaster brake hub is completely silent while coasting, which is both a little bit freaky and really amazing at the same time. It feels like floating quietly through the air, and the thick slick tires do their part to both smooth out the floaty ride and to be really quiet. The loudest part of the whole ride, except for the wind, is the chain, which is old and a bit rusty. I should probably replace it soon, both for the noise and for safety reasons. Hey, if you're interested in talking about bikes, check out our Discord server. Link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to hit that like button on your way out. And have a great day.